we're off to Montenegro. Here we are, we're coming up here in Albania. We did not visit Podgorica. In fact, we went right round it and up to Zabljak in the Dermator National Park, which is the whole of Montenegro fits in with its name. It's Black Mountain is what it stands for, and it is amazingly mountainous. It's probably the most mountainous place. Well, Nepal might have a mountain or two more. but anyway, the places that we are going to visit are Cetinje, Zabljak, Bodva and Kotor. The bridge that leaves Albania and goes into Montenegro is here. We're on the Montenegrin side where it is all gardens and lovely. The other side is all horrible. Budva on the coast is a rather interesting place. And one has a great sense of relief as one crosses that bridge. Despite a small population, 630,000, and mountainous terrain, it's a very beautiful and peaceful place, Montenegro. In the process of joining the EU, Montenegro has been using the euro since 1998 and has attracted investment to its coastal regions, tiny as they are. The historic port town of Budva here was hit by earthquakes in 1976 but has been restored as a holiday destination for locals and tourists. As I mentioned before, the cruise ships tend to berth in Dubrovnik and bus people down to Kotor, but sometimes it happens in reverse. And there is the Black Mountain, which was, we were there in May, and that is the snow covering that was there at that time. The Tara River Canyon near Zabljak is pretty impressive. And the mad adventurous people that I travel with did whitewater rafting down there. I stayed at home. Zabljak in winter is a thriving tourist mecca for skiing, and that accommodation was beautiful and the walks were lovely, particularly the one into the Black Lake National Park. And here is Kotor, the city of the cat, and again it is the old town that one visits. The new town really is no different to any town anywhere, but as you can see, the setting is absolutely beautiful. And in Kotor Bay, Our Lady of the Rocks, which is the blue-topped building, and next door is the 7th century Benedictine monastery of Sveti Đorđe, Island of the Dead. This, I'm so glad that I got into the tiny boat and went across to it, because it was an amazing experience. That's the Island of the Dead, and that's us approaching what is now a museum. And there is the ceiling of the chapel in the museum. And the tin and other metal plates around the roof, each one of those plates commemorates a seagoing person who has died. And some of them are tiny and others are really quite large. Some are silver, some are tin. And that's St. Leopold. And here is an exhibition of guns, sabres, etc. I know my grandson was very interested in this. And here, in the township of Kotar, the city of the cat, which also dates from about the 1500s, it was an interesting place, but I didn't like it anywhere near as much as Dubrovnik. That was a former palace, which gives you some idea, and is now an exhibition centre. Churches, of course, most important. An art supply shop. And the ubiquitous tourist boat. They apparently take somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000 tourists. And they seem totally out of keeping. Everything else is dwarfed by them. But again, once you climb up from the coastline, from these cities, and you can arrive at a place called Sejinci, the imperial capital, until 1932. It houses it was the former capital, and it houses the royal palace. The reason why the palace was built there was because it has a far more temperate climate. Yes, well, it's 2,000 metres above sea level. So, and it has a museum that is spread over 5 buildings, but it seemed to us to be a very sleepy little place, and the palace was not exactly impressive. There it is, inside the palace. We have a rather strange chicken here, and it's not particularly flash. A scale model of Montenegro, which shows just how mountainous it is. And the main street, with only a few people bobbing around in it and tourist things. Coming back down to Kotor, certainly amazing views. The airport, and this is the vessel that we were going to put our car on, and we were going up the coast and back to Croatia, where we flew out again. Now, we'll just go on to looking at the COVID information that we have. COVID-19 in the Western Balkans. When you look at those figures, they don't look too bad. 770 dead in Bosnia and Herzegovina, 743 in Serbia, Montenegro only 138, but remember you've only got 63,000 people. Kosovo, But the next thing we're going to look at is how COVID-19 affected each of these places. Did they all go down at once? Or are they rather like Victoria in that they had a very successful first go and then a bit of a disaster as the second go?